They're stories of survival, strength, courage, resilience, overcoming, and healing. Whether they were facing a cancer diagnosis or an abusive relationship, she wanted to put the power back in their hands. She would be floored to know that almost 3 decades later, thanks to the generous support of donors like you, the foundation has provided over $96 million for cancers affecting women and ending domestic violence. Imagine what that means for the 2,800 domestic violence shelters who received grants for life-saving support services, or the 280 cancer research grant recipients working tirelessly to find cures for the cancers affecting the women in our lives. We'll be celebrating the $100 million mark soon enough, and I think we can do it just in time for the Foundation's 30th anniversary. Now, these funds are truly saving lives, and they're rewriting stories, but we cannot slow down now. My great-grandmother was a firm believer that nobody could tell your story better than you. And we know she certainly wasn't going to sit around and let somebody else write hers. Definitely not. So I am so excited to share that over the next 3 years, we want to invite you to write your own foundation story with our brand new, beautiful, collectible charm bracelet. Now, by supporting the Mary Kay Ash Foundation, your gift of $40 receives this gold charm bracelet with the silver wings charm, and each additional $20 donation adds one of our perfectly curated collectible charms. Now, 4 new charms will be released each year. There will be 13 in total, so you can pick them all, or you can pick the ones that are most meaningful to your story. You can mix and match them, collect them all, create one for your friend. We encourage you to just make it your own. We all know the statistics, right? 1 in 4 women still will experience some form of abuse in her lifetime. What some may not know is that this abuse doesn't look the same for everyone. In fact, sometimes it looks like the seemingly happy mother who's picking her children up at school, while her husband silently tracks every text and every move. The woman who watches what she spends, while her partner tightens her allowance and questions her every purchase. It may even look like the successful businesswoman whose spouse berates her behind closed doors. Now, in a moment, I'm going to introduce you to a woman named Stephanie. She is a successful, brilliant mother of 4 beautiful children who quietly suffered from these softer abuses that don't present in physical bruises and scars, but the mental and the emotional wounds are there. Over the last 2 decades, the Foundation has awarded $57 million in grants to domestic violence shelters on the front lines of all types of abuse. Now, these critical funds are used to address the vast needs of women who find themselves at their door. From mental health counseling services, financial literacy education, to legal aid, and even childcare. These services provide lifelines to closing these women's traumatic chapters. So listen with me to one woman's personal journey of resilience, rebuilding, and tragedy turned advocacy when her life was nearly taken by domestic violence. Stephanie Bond is a survivor, and her story is at the heart of our Foundation's why. I would like to also note that this story contains Sensitive matters, and we encourage you to remember that as you watch the video.
My name is Stephanie Bond, and I am President-elect of Genesis Women's Alliance Board. I was married for 22 years to my college sweetheart. We had built a very successful real estate business where we were one of the largest landlords of student housing on the University of Illinois campus, and we had 4 children together. On a random Saturday afternoon, my husband called me into the bedroom and said there was something that he wanted to discuss with me, but not in front of the children. He pulled out a .45 caliber handgun, shot me 3 times, turned the gun on himself, and died next to me. 3 of our 4 children were home at the time. They heard my cries for help. My then 14-year-old son ran to the house phone and called 911. My then 6-year-old daughter ran into the bedroom, the master bedroom where our bodies lay, brought me a cell phone to call 911 to get help. One of the shots was nearly fatal in that it grazed my femoral artery and blew out about 1.5 inches of the bone in my right leg. When the paramedics got to me, they rushed me to the ER, and I went into emergency surgery. I was later told that I had about 1/3 of my blood left in my body, and I almost died. I spent a month in the hospital, a month in a wheelchair. I eventually graduated to a walker and then a cane, and I had about 1 year of physical therapy. So obviously healing from the physical injuries were of paramount concern. I was under the false belief that once I was physically healed, all would be right with the world, and that obviously wasn't the case. Statistically, 1 in 4 women will be a victim of domestic violence at some point in their life. It doesn't matter your socioeconomic class, it doesn't matter your level of education, it doesn't matter your neighborhood, and it doesn't matter what your religious beliefs are. There are other forms of domestic abuse that don't always manifest in the physical piece. There's emotional abuse, mental abuse, financial abuse, and spiritual abuse. In my case, financial abuse was the most prevalent. He controlled all of the assets. He had me on an allowance. I'm a CPA. I started the business with him. I had to ask for permission to have access to the economic resources that we built together. What I have discovered is that oftentimes it's these softer abuses, the mental, the emotional, and the financial, that later manifest in the physical. I didn't come home and my husband didn't hit me. He didn't beat me, but he did berate me. He did control all of our assets, and he kept me compartmentalized. There are domestic violence resources across the country that provide for women that need to leave a volatile relationship. Some of those resources include transportation services, emotional support, legal counseling. It could be as simple as just talking to someone to help come up with a plan for safety. I want to use the power of my story to help other women see that there is a second chance, to see that they can have an amazing life and a wonderful future. And it's work that the Mary Kay Foundation does that helps women get from point A to point B. It's the work of the foundation that helps them realize that they can reach their true potential and be an amazing woman.
Stephanie's story is nothing short of a miracle. And I am honored to share that she's here with us in person today. And I think she deserves a huge round of applause for her story. you, Stephanie, for telling your story. I am happy to call this courageous woman my friend. I have had a chance to meet her daughter, and thank you so much for sharing this. And miraculously, Stephanie is still with us. But sadly, we know that her story resonates deeply with far too many women. So if you have been waiting for your sign, that it's time to get out yourself, or you know someone in an abusive relationship, this is it. Here's your sign. Please don't wait. So if today's story has moved you, I encourage you to stop by the Foundation booth and Expo to share your story. Our North Texas domestic violence partners will be in attendance on several of the seminar days in Expo to provide helpful resources, education, guidance, and support that can help you or someone you know escape a potentially dangerous situation. And the Foundation remains committed to helping women find their voice, heal their wounds, and let them know that their stories don't end here, they begin. With each innovative grant, each donation to the Foundation, we help a woman begin a new chapter of resilience, courage, strength, and hope. So thank you again for your continued support of the Mary Kay Ash Foundation and of support of Stephanie, survivors like Stephanie everywhere. Enjoy your seminar.
Let's hear it again for Jessica Bair.